Welcome everyone to the July 17th meeting of the Economic Development Commission meeting. I'm Dwight Coder, Chair of the EDC, and we are going to start with some official business. Steve, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I qualify as official business, but I'll start with the staff update at least and be as official as I can be. So,
Okay.
hopefully you're all aware of our summer concert series, which is going on right now. Actually, it's going to start in about 28 minutes for those who are counting. But every Thursday in June and July, we have summer concerts on the square. Um, this week you get a bonus feature because our one from the 4th of July week got rained out, so it'll be this Saturday. So we have our concert tonight. There'll be another concert on Saturday, and then again next week and the week after, and that'll wrap up the series. So excited about all of that. In terms of stuff we've been working on here in the office, we have made, or Rosemary, really, I should say we, because it's all been Rosemary, has made significant progress on our business list, and it's almost to a state where we'll be able to start using that, which would be a real help as we move into the next phase of this. POCD, Jen's been working hard with the consultants on getting draft recommendations and edits, and we're hoping to see that in another month or so. Um, at our last meeting, I mentioned we were trying to work on a survey of businesses and residents for a couple of different things. I met with a couple of different companies. One was like a data company that used cell phone data to determine demographics of who are in your target area and what, based upon the demographics, what opportunities might exist. So if you're trying to determine, hey, what kind of businesses do we need down here? They had a way of trying to figure that out, also telling you who's in your area. And then another company that specialized in municipal and nonprofit survey work had reached out to me. So I met with them and talked about the possibility of partnering with them for a much more comprehensive, robust survey than anything we could pull off internally. So those are both on the radar as options, but haven't moved forward on either one of those, and we'll certainly keep the commission posted as we do. Um, Had a surprising number of meetings with developers in conjunction with Jennifer in the planning department, people that are trying to do projects in town. It was an interesting month for that. Did a lot of coordinating with the downtown entities with regards to the upcoming move-in weekend, which will be just over a month away. So kind of getting ready to prepare for the students moving into the Oaks. Had a great meeting with Connecticut Countryside over at Patriot Park in Coventry. They Jana from Town of Coventry did the presentation and talked a lot about the Connecticut Countryside's work and what we've been working on there. And we were presenting to the CROG panel for our area. And then worked on some inter-business collaborations. A couple of businesses reached out and saying, "Hey, can you hook us up with this other business we're trying to collaborate?" And that was kind of it wasn't a big part of my month, and it wasn't a lot of work, but it was an interesting thing that I thought it fits really well with the work we're trying to do here, which is foster collaboration between businesses we have in town. So, an exciting month, a busy month. And then I'll kind of lead with or conclude with rolling into our openings and closings. We talked about at the last meeting that Cut to the Chase has relocated and they opened in their new spot. We are planning on helping them with their grand opening, which will probably be end of next month. Nikki's Doghouse is finally open, which we're all very excited about. I've been in touch with them a few times about working towards their grand opening, which we're shooting for beginning of September. The Farmer's Cow has reopened. They had a flood event a number of months back and they had been closed. So they have reopened down on the south side of town. And then there's new signage at the Poorhouse, which looks like that has closed and is being turned into Cousin Jimmy's Pizza. So that's a very exciting update. And then speaking with folks from the Standard, which is the new apartment complex up in the Four Corners that should be opening in about a month. They have one commercial tenant that they've signed and two that they're working on signing. So hopefully we'll have some new commercial tenants in that part of town in the not too distant future.
Have they been willing to disclose who their commercial tenant is or what type of business it is?
Uh, Not yet. Well, they told me one of them was a restaurant and one of them was a market.
Okay,
But I think they want to wait until they get a little further along before they start talking about specifics.
sounds
I
good.
think they said a coffee shop as well.
That would
Okay.
stand. Okay, great. Well, thanks for.
Cousin Jimmy's, new owners or new name?
New manager, new, operations guy. I believe it's going to be the owner, at least one of the owners is staying on, as from what I heard. But a new manager, new business model, new name.
Okay. That's,
And then I
Steve,
don't know if
this is
anyone else
Chris.
had. Hey, Kristen.
Hi, Steve. How many businesses can go in there?
The standard.
Hmm.
It's 12,000 square feet. I think they had somewhere between 6 and 8 spaces, depending upon how much space each person took.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for those updates, Steve. Is there anything else you want to add from the staff on the staff side of things here? Or are we prepared to move into some of our discussion items for today?
Yeah, I guess last thing, I guess just housing updates. The standard is still under construction, and we are hoping that they will be ready to open on time. I think they're saying August 22nd as in terms of move-in, and there's 392 units. So very excited that they'll have that done and students will be ready to move in there. I don't know if you've been driving by, but there's a lot of work getting finalized over the last couple weeks that's starting to really come together. So,
do
but
any,
that's all.
do any of the buildings have a CO yet?
I That's a great question. I don't know that they have COs, if COs have officially been given yet, but I know that a lot of the inspections have been done. There's a lot of like moving pieces that go into that. So
Yeah.
Awesome. So 392 units. What's the total number of residents that they anticipate accommodating?
I think it's 890, right?
yeah, it's somewhere in the 800 in something range.
Okay.
They have a mix of like efficiencies, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. On their website, they have something on the order of like 30 different floor plans for
Wow.
those 392 units. So it's a really wide variety of floor plans. So
Cool.
yeah.
Great, great, excellent. And people are living in Eagleville Green now. It looks like it's pretty actively occupied and being enjoyed and tended to. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, that seems like it's been a real successful project. And I thought I heard last that there was a couple of units left that were market rate, but all the affordable units had been leased. So
Awesome, awesome. That's great. That's great. Okay, so we have a few different discussion items on today. The first is the topic of members, and then some goals and priorities for the committee. So I had emailed a couple of times about the question of members. Steve, could you update us what your efforts have been like? I know you've been talking to people and sounding folks out on this. Do you have any leads? It seems to me as though we have at least one empty seat that was created when you left the committee to assume your staff role. But I feel like maybe we're talking about possibly adding another member or two. Is that right?
yeah, so according to my records, we have 2 open slots. It's a 9-member commission when there's 7 members so far. So that will be two potential vacancies. I've reached out to 2 folks. So I had chatted with Lane and Valessa, which are our governance committee, which is in charge of coming up with people to suggest as new members. Probably about a month and a half ago, we come up with a list. So I've reached out to 2 different people. One I was able to get a hold of, and they're considering it, I guess is the nicest way to put it. So I may tap another commission member to help twist the arm, and we'll sit down with them for coffee and kind of chat about it. The other person I sent an email to today, just trying to follow up. But as I was doing these outreach things, and it's probably the same kind of experience that you guys had when I asked if you guys would be willing to be on the EDC. The first question is, well, what does that mean? What's the job description? And I happened to be in a meeting today with the Connecticut Main Street Association, and one of the ideas or one of the questions that was asked in the meeting was, how do you get more or better board members? And one of the strategies that they suggested was having a job description that was real explicit in what you're looking for in a board member. So when you say, hey, would you join the EDC? Well, what does that mean? So I kind of drafted a sample, just kind of cut and pasting off of keywords from our website and that kind of thing. And if you guys are up for it, I'll share it with you and we can kind of take a crack at it. Let me know if you think I'm on the right track. Is that coming up on your screen?
Yes.
All right. So, when I go out and call or email or meet with someone and say, hey, are you interested in joining the EDC? And they say, well, what does that mean? This is sort of how I summarize it. So our EDC is what advises the town council and staff on policies and initiatives to support a strong, diverse, and sustainable economy. The commission members serve as advocates for responsible economic growth, help shape strategic priorities, and support outreach to the business community. The responsibilities include attending and actively participating in monthly EDC meetings and occasional special meetings, contributing ideas and feedback on strategies to attract, retain, and support businesses in Mansfield, to serve as a liaison between the EDC and community stakeholders, including residents, businesses, and Yukon, to help identify economic development opportunities and challenges within the community, to review and evaluate local data, planning documents and proposals as needed, which we do a lot of that in writing letters in support of different things, support and participate in EDC-led initiatives, events, and programs, and uphold the town's goals related to the town's plan of conservation and development. And ideal candidate qualities would include interest in community development, local business and entrepreneurship, willingness to collaborate, share insight, and engage in constructive discussion, ability to dedicate about 1 to 3 hours a month to commission-related work, and you have to be a Mansfield resident or a Mansfield business owner or employee as a requirement of eligibility. And then the term is a 3-year term. So hopefully that's kind of what you guys signed up for. But if I left anything out or you want to change it or edit it, I'd like to have a document that I can kind of send along or hand to somebody and say, this is what it means to be on the EDC.
I don't see anything wrong with it. Looks good to me.
Great.
I think it looks great, Steve.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Well, that makes this real easy.
I'll make
job.
one editorial suggestion just to make it seem like I'm doing some work here. I think you could probably omit the help identify economic development opportunities and challenges within the community, because I think that sort of falls under the heading of number 2 and which is the contribute ideas and provide feedback. I'm just saying, I think making that list shorter makes sense, because what people are probably really asking when they say, what does that entail, is how much do I have to do? How much responsibility do I have? And I think keeping that as short and sweet as possible is more likely to attract people. So if there's one change, I would make that could be it. Because I think that's built into that other bullet anyway.
Yep. Nope. That's perfect. That's exactly kind of what I was going for, is less is more. So
Yeah, looks great. Looks
Awesome.
great. Great idea. Do you think we could put that, would it make sense to put that on the website to have a link, or just so that people know what the various, what the membership does? I know it's all extracted from the EDC mission and initiatives, or do you think it's just best to keep that as a document for recruiting purposes exclusively?
no, I think that's great. The more information we can give people, the better. So I don't know if we can do it as a doc or if it's just a text we put on a page somewhere, but yeah, I'll look into that and try to figure that out for sure.
I have a quick suggestion. Should we remove job in the description, maybe membership description, so people aren't like, hey, we get paid for this?
Thank you. I wasn't sure. It was getting late and I didn't have a good way to describe it. So I use job description, but yeah, so commission member description or commission member role description or.
Or do
I
you,
guess
or do you state volunteer?
well, volunteer, yeah.
Could you put it back
Volunteer.
up there for a sec, Steve?
Yeah, hold on. Let me let's see here. Someone said volunteer. Did you want that instead of commission member or?
You could do commission member responsibilities.
I like that.
And maybe it should state commission members are volunteers that serve as advocates.
Yeah. Commission members are volunteers that serve as
Yes.
advocates. Yeah, that's great, Kristen. I like that.
Yeah.
So it's the second set. Yeah, right there. There you go.
You guys didn't get paid? Did I forget to send you the checks? Awesome. Nope, that's great. I appreciate that.
I just
any-
spent on hot dogs at Nikki's anyway, so.
Any other edits? If you guys think of stuff, you can always email me. And if you want me to distribute this, I'm happy to pass it along too. But I didn't mean for you to have to decide on the spot. I
Oh,
just
it's great.
didn't have it ready before our packet went out on Monday. So
It's awesome. It's
Great,
excellent.
Steve. Thank you.
sure.
Looks good. Another thing off the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have, does anyone have any other suggestions that they would like to throw into the hat here or have you been contacted, Steve? You haven't been contacted by anyone with names at this point, other than the conversation you had with Valessa and Lane?
Yeah, no, and we have a list of like 6 people, but certainly if anyone has people that they'd like me to reach out to, I'm more than happy to chat with more people. Or if you think there's a great business owner or a great resident who you think has time and bandwidth, that would be a good addition. Let's find out. It would be nice to have more options than fewer options. So,
So this 9-member commission, correct?
Mhm.
With 7 members and 2 ex officio?
Well, it's nine members plus the 2 ex officio. So we have 2 vacancies right now.
Okay, so 9 voting members.
Correct. Well, ex officio gets the vote, I believe.
Do we?
Yeah, you just don't count towards a quorum.
Okay. Yeah, and it's an election year, so your 2 ex officios may change up in the fall.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, do we have any further conversation around membership? No? Okay. Then I think we can move on to 5B, which is 2025 goals and priorities. Steve's already mentioned the 2 grand openings, which are coming up. I'm wondering if we could sort of talk about, I don't know if this is where you had kind of imagined us talking about this, Steve, but one thought that I had, and I don't know if, again, if you want to talk about this later in the meeting, Steve, we can, but possibly with these various grand openings that are coming up, both imminently and that we don't yet know about, you know, I was wondering, would it be possible at each grand opening for one member of the Economic Development Commission to try to be in attendance? In other words, kind of sort of set up a sort of, I wouldn't say a rotation. And of course, everything you do for this committee is voluntary. So, you know, there's no consequences if you say, I can't do this. But I would love it if at each of these grand openings, there was one representative that would be in that photo that could say something to the effect of, Lucy Aldrich representing the Economic Development Commission of Mansfield, so that the commission gets a little bit of visibility, and the business owners know that the Economic Development Commission supports them and is there to show up when needed. I don't know exactly how we would do this. I guess in my mind, the way we do this sort of thing at work is we just set up a Google Doc and kind of, a notice goes out and says, hey, there's a couple of dates here. Could anyone sign up? And it's really just a matter of showing up for a ribbon cutting and maybe a piece of cake or something like that. So, thoughts on this idea? Does this, I mean, obviously I would be one of those members and I'm thinking here primarily about the members of the committee rather than the ex officio members, but I certainly, just because we actually do represent the Economic Development Commission. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Do you think that's a good idea? Does that seem like it's just another warm body in the room, not necessary? Am I overthinking the value of trying to make sure that we always have one person at these events?
No, I don't think you're overthinking it, and, I try to attend to things anyways.
Yeah,
But to your point on ex officio members, is that the ex officio members, or council members would probably be represented, under that,
right.
yeah, so to your
As a
point. I
council
think that-
member, right.
Yes, correct, so.
Yep.
And I try to get to them, but make sure if you can, include all the other members.
I think
I
it's
think it's a good idea.
me too. The more connections we can make with people, then recognize us and then can feel they can ask questions, the better. I think the only thing, like for me, I would feel bad because I don't know how many I could attend. I'd have to know far enough advance so that way I could block my schedule. Because
Right.
I'm assuming they would be during the day. So that's the only piece for me that might be difficult, but I'd be happy to try for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, I think it's kind of aspirational. We try to do it. We see if we can make that work and try to do some rotation if we can. But no, I think we're all in the same boat. We're all very busy and it's hard to get away from work in midday to do something like this. I appreciate that.
Dwight,
And-
I'll tell you a couple of people. Oh, I'm sorry, Lucy, go ahead.
That's, I was just thinking if it's even more overthinking, if we had some sort of printout or information to hand them physically because they're at an event, they're talking to a lot of people. If they had some sort of, call to action, sort of like email address or something to give them.
Yeah.
If you wanted me to like design something up, I could, but I don't know. That was just a thought.
I love that idea.
I think that's great.
Yeah, that's actually a kind of a perfect segue into the next thing that on our list
Awesome.
for having like the business thing. But the one thing I wanted to mention before we move on to that, I don't know who it was, but I've been over to Nikki's Doghouse a couple times as they've getting ready for their opening, and then they opened. I lost track, a week and a half ago now, something like that. And the last time I was there a couple of days ago, he goes, boy, I'll tell you, he goes, I've had a couple members of the EDC stop in here. So I don't know which of you guys were able to make it in. Actually, I think I know Brian did because I saw your post on Facebook, but he said a couple people stopped in and he was really excited to hear that that they introduced themselves as being from the EDC or the Downtown Partnership as well. And that we're excited to see him in our community. So thank you for those of you who did that.
I stopped by. I didn't identify myself as a member of the EDC. I was there just for the hot dogs. But yeah, that's great. That is great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's a great idea, Lucy. Were you thinking like a trifold brochure? Here's the EDC, here are the names of the people on the committee, here's what we do. If you have questions about this, contact, or what are you thinking?
I think a trifold brochure would be too much,
Okay.
especially just like the production side of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This was just a thought I had, so I haven't really fleshed it out.
Sure.
But if we had like an email address, the web page, something just quick for them. I don't know. I need to think more about like what they would be able to hold physically and refer back to.
Mhm.
But a description is a good idea too of, our mission.
Yeah, I think just a single page flyer, Economic Development Commission, the name of the chair or, the name of our primary staff member, Steve, with his contact information. I think that's a great idea, and a description of the mission of the of the commission, what we do, and that's that. Just so that there's some paper trail that we've been there. I think it's a good idea.
Sure, yeah. All right, written down.
All right, cool. Relatedly, we're like going all analog. But why not, right? Flyers, one analog technology, sandwich boards is another. Steve and I talked about these at our pre-meeting. I don't remember who brought this up, but there was consensus that doing sandwich boards in strategic locations around Mansfield on the occasion of grand openings would be a welcome service to provide to new business owners. And I think Steve said we have the sandwich boards. All we need to do is print the thing out. I guess it's a question of who's doing the design for all that, and is there a role for the EDC to support that initiative? I would be happy to schlep the sandwich boards out myself if it comes to that, but that's about the limit of my talents when it comes to sandwich boards, I think. Yeah, Lucy?
I'm a graphic designer, so I can do these things. I just don't know if I'm overstepping, other designers that are affiliated with the town of Mansfield. So I don't know, if that's allowed.
Yeah,
But again, as a member, happy to contribute.
that's awesome. Thank you
Would
so
you
much
like
for your
to consult,
generosity.
would you consult Margaret Chatty? Our
Steve,
communications
who did you
specialist?
say had access to who had done some of this design work in the past?
I think Kathleen, and I'm sure
Kathleen?
she'd be happy for any help. So Lucy will definitely loop you in and love any help we can get. So the one thing I guess I'd point out for commission to reflect on, I talked to Kathleen about this earlier this week, and they are roughly $25 per sandwich board insert. So obviously a sandwich board is an A-frame, and each side has these plastic, kind of corrugated plastic inserts that slide into these slots. And so for every, either we need to find a different material to slide into the slot, like maybe like a thinner poster board, maybe that would be cheaper. But currently we have a whole like gigantic stack of different inserts for these things, whether we use the same poster board frames for Celebrate Mansfield, Boo Bash, Winter Welcome, concert series, all that kind of stuff. And we just change the inserts. And so it would be great. We could use them for grand openings as well. But if we were going to do unique inserts
Yeah.
for each business, and I think we have 3 or 4 sandwich boards, and each one of them has 2 sides, and it's $25 per insert. It could get a little expensive. It's a really cool idea, and it could be a cool leave behind for the business, like especially if they wanted some wall art or they wanted to put it somewhere, or just a keepsake, like grand opening here in Mansfield, and we provided it to them, and it might be a nice takeaway. But there would come somewhat of a budgetary thing to keep in mind. The other thing along the lines of budget, Rosemary had the idea of doing branded ribbons. And so basically we take the big red grand opening ribbon, and she's looking into if she can, she's an extensive cricketer. So I don't know if those of you who have crickets, getting like vinyl cut to put on the ribbon with either the logo or the name of the business or something like that. And if we can get Mansfield's logo or something on there as well for a little bit of co-branding. And then that branded ribbon could also be a leave behind, and in an attempt to, really establish that relationship between whatever the new business is and the town of Mansfield and the EDC.
Right. Is there a way, I'd have to, I feel like I kind of want to come and look at these just to see exactly what the technology is.
Yeah.
Because I would wonder if there's some way to make these modular, right? So you'd have a basic template that would say, grand opening, there would be a site on that board for the date and time, and there would be a site on the board for a logo or, the business name. That we could, reuse that template over and over and just replace a portion of it. Again, I haven't seen it, so it's a little hard for me to imagine exactly what it looks like and how it works, but maybe we can talk about that at some point. Maybe
I probably shouldn't share something that's like, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. Can I ask a question?
yeah, of course.
Okay. And is there any talk of us actually having like a digital sign by the town hall? I know, when I drive through Wyndham, for example, they have that one where all of that information is posted. Has there been any discussion about that for our town?
I think it's a great idea, and I think a few people have discussed it, but I don't know that it has its current. It's not something that sounds like it's imminent from the people that I've chatted with, but I don't know if there's a particular champion for it, but it would be great. I think we could have a lot of use for something like that.
I've brought it up. It's not anything in front of the council at the moment, but we could tickle that if you want.
Could you
Uh,
ask around, Brian, if there's support for something like that? Because I think that is really what we're talking about.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, okay.
I think it would make sense for so many things, town events as well as grand openings. It would be a nice way to use things and without the cost or the worry about different signs too.
Yeah. agreed.
Absolutely. I totally agree with this.
I will absolutely bring it up, and obviously Brian will too. So that's, yeah, great idea, Kristen. Dwight, to your question before, this is, I don't know if you can see my screen, but this upper right, this is the frame that we have, this larger one. And then the panel basically just fits inside of that opening, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's coming in large enough. I believe it's the
Yep.
20, I think it's this panel. It's like the larger of them. Nah, that's too big. 20, maybe this one.
And whatever that insert is, though, is it shielded by plastic or is the insert itself getting pelted by rain and whatnot?
It is plastic. It's a corrugated plastic product. So it's basically just like those election yard signs that you see.
Right. Mhm.
Same kind of material, just a bigger. I think it's. This might not be the exact size. I thought it was 2 by 3, but it's basically just a sheet of plastic that slides into.
Right.
Oh yeah, right here, A-frame replacement panel. That's it. So that this colorful part is what slides into the white frame.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so does this scuttle the plan, do you think?
I don't think it scuttles it. I think if we decide, I think it's just something to consider. We can probably find money somewhere to do this for this particular year, assuming we don't have an overwhelming number of businesses that open.
Right.
But it might be something to budget for next year, which is kind of a funny thing because we just started our fiscal year 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to go. But for the next time we develop a budget, we may want to have a line item for grand openings, to support grand openings, for things like signage, ribbons, advertising, that kind of thing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Well, where do we want to leave things on this today? Do we want to sort of table this until we have money? Do we want to try and do a printout for maybe Nikki's and cut to the chase to just, it's going to cost, if we did one board for each, it'd be $100 total.
Mhm.
Do we want to move forward with that? I mean, or do we want to hold off and continue to discuss it? What do you think, Steve? What's your feeling on it?
Now,
I'd love to try it.
that's the Mansfield Downtown Partnership budget, so Steve knows what's in the bank over there, right?
Yeah, we have, it's the MDP, but we also have town economic development funds. So I think we can find the money for something like this for a 1 or 2 off. And I think it'd be worth trying rather than just over planning to death. I like trying things and seeing how they fly and then taking it from there. So that would be my default. Let's just give it a whirl and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move on to the next thing.
At a minimum, I think it would, I mean, Nikki's is obviously doing what they can by putting someone out there in a hot dog costume. So I feel like, having a little bit of signage that we're supporting is good as well. Nancy, you had your hand up there.
Are we just putting it like outside of Nikki's? I thought when we discussed it earlier, it was like gonna go on each side of town. But then I think that's gonna be too costly. Cause then that's 2 sandwich boards, that's,
$200.
$100 for each bit, I think that's just gonna get too much, depending on the amount of businesses that are opening.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thought was to do one over by the town hall. And then the other one, yeah, I mean, I wasn't as sure where that one on the north end of town would go. But maybe we just start with one and see how it goes and just put the one by the town hall there where they normally advertise for like the farmers market and that sort of thing. Is that what is that what everyone had in mind? At least that's what I thought folks were recommending.
We had talked
specific-
about doing 3, and I know it's a lot for a first time, but I'm totally fine trying 3 the first time. It's $150, and we can find it somewhere. So if you guys are okay with it, and if we're savvy, I'm not sure if these things are double-sided or not. If we can print both sides, maybe one side is Nikki's, one side is cut to the chase. And then
Interesting.
we can just flip them and use them for the other one. But it might be a lot long-term, but we don't know if it's a long-term solution yet. So maybe let's just try it out the first time if you guys are okay with it. And then if it works, we'll figure out how to budget it going forward. And if it doesn't, we'll know it doesn't work.
Okay, is this something that we want to take a vote on, or are we just generally in agreement that this is worth a shot?
I'm good with it.
I think it's worth a shot. I'd be curious if there's just a way for us to kind of gauge if it's working. Like, when they're making sales, is it possible for them to sort of ask, where did you hear about us? And see if people are saying, oh, the signs, or oh, I saw the hot dog outside, or I was waiting for you to come, I heard about it on Facebook. Just so
Yep.
if we alert the businesses, we're going to put it out if they don't mind asking, or even if there's just a little survey box or something, so we can gauge if it's helpful.
Yep,
Yeah, that's really good feedback.
data is always great. Great suggestion. Okay, so Steve, can we leave it to you to talk with Kathleen about getting these things designed? And then if Kathleen wants a little design boost, she can reach out to Lucy, who's been so generous as to offer some time.
That'd be perfect.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll put that one in the books. We have about 20 minutes to go here. Member involvement, Steve, I'm not quite sure what you had in mind under that particular heading. Was
I
that?
think that was
we
your
talked
idea about
about-
having them attend. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so with that, could you create a Google Doc or some kind of shared document that basically lists the name of the business, the address, the date of the grand opening, and then maybe slots for 1 or 2 names. And then we can circulate it to the committee or commission. And then folks can sign up as it works for them.
Yep.
And
we
if
can
nobody
definitely do that.
signs up, it's not any worse than it is now. So,
Yeah.
it seems like it's a win only potential plan. And if again, if we've gone 3 or 4 months and we've added names to this list and no one is signing up, then we, can the idea, but I think it's worth trying that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. I can definitely get that figured out.
Okay, cool. New business, new resident welcome kit basket. Steve, you want to update folks on that?
Yeah, so we spent a while talking about this internally, and I think we have a pretty good plan for how to implement it. I'm going to share my screen again because it's easier to look at stuff than listen to me drone on. There we go. So we had it kind of broken out into 3 different groups for welcome packets. One that's geared towards renters, one that's geared towards homeowners, and one that's geared towards businesses. And that's sort of the priority that we've kind of determined here in the office of the order we'd like to tackle them in, just because renters are coming soon. We have a big influx of them at the end of August. And so we'd like to try to get this part of it handled for August. What we had done in the past, I think I showed the last time, we created this like 8-page glossy brochure that had a lot of information about living here in Mansfield, and we distributed it to the residents of the Oaks. But the new vision that we had kind of discussed here at the EDC over the last couple of meetings was getting this information out to all tenants in town. So not just the Oaks, but Carriage House and Wrenwood and Maplewood and Meadowbrook Gardens on the other side of town. Everybody that's coming into town, they all need to know roughly the same information. So this 8-page glossy brochure costs a little over $1 to produce. So it would be really expensive if we had to churn out like 3,000 to 5,000 of them, which is kind of our rough ballpark of what we would need. A much more cost-effective solution would be to produce a postcard with a QR code that went to a landing page on the town website that had all of that information. And I think we kind of touched on this idea briefly last month, but we kind of fleshed it out here. So basically, the idea is to create that postcard with the QR code. We currently have a landing page on the town website that Margaret Chady and her intern put together a few years back. We reached out to Margaret, and she's totally fine with us kind of editing that and augmenting it. And so what our idea would be to make sure we have the following content on there, at least as a starting place. It's a lot to get done over the next month. And especially with everything else we have going on, but we think this is achievable and doable. So it would have some type of welcoming message. It would have all the quick links to stuff about trash, parking rules, voter registration, emergency contacts, all the stuff that any resident would need to know. We would have links to the downtown directory where we have stuff like what are the different restaurants that are down here and services. The only bummer about this is right now we only have the content for the downtown. We don't have the town-wide information yet. So we'll build that out as it comes. The nice thing about doing a postcard with a QR code is that brings you to a website that's we can change. So it's not like a static welcome packet where we're printing it out and delivering it and the information there is static. This could change as we add stuff to it. So, and then we have on different parts of the website, we can link to the events calendar, the farmers market information about UConn sports, just general things that people would want to know moving into town. The postcards themselves, we'd want them to be pretty eye-catching and geared more towards a younger audience. So think like bright, bold colors. We want the website to be as mobile friendly as possible because we're anticipating most of these people will be accessing it via their cell phone. And then kind of not a call to action, but make the text on the postcard, let people know what they're going to find when they click on the QR code. So like dog licensing, restaurants, event calendar, that kind of stuff, so that hopefully they're like a call to action. They want to actually click on the QR code and find out what else is there. In terms of implementation, we're planning on ordering thousands of these things, getting them printed, and then driving them out to the different complexes, giving them to the leasing agents and having them drop them in each apartment or distribute them to each resident, as opposed to mailing them, because it'll be a lot cheaper if we drop them off than if we have to mail all these things. As far as budget considerations, it's basically staff time. Printing a postcard is somewhere on the order of 4 to 6 cents a piece versus these beautiful brochures, which are really, really nice, but they were about $1 a piece. So if we were going to scale this up to the entire town, we'd be looking at like, north of $5,000 just for creating the pieces versus at 4 to 6 cents, we can do it for a few $100. So I think that's definitely an achievable type deal. And then I'm glad Kristen brought up to gauge if the signs were effective, because I think as we roll out these new programs, we have to make sure that as we're rolling them out, we're coming up with ways to make sure that they're being effective. And so the metric we kind of had on this one is we can track the website traffic just to see if we see a bump in it and if people are actually responding to the QR codes. And then we could also follow it up with a survey of tenants just to see if they found that postcard, if it made it to them, and if they found any useful information. So this is sort of just like a rough outline of how the program would work. And I certainly would welcome any ideas people have to tweak it, content we can add, other ideas, that type of thing.
Steve, I think
think
this is amazing.
Yep.
I think it's great. Are you planning on also having more of like flyer type items that are bigger, ones that can be placed permanently in the different leasing offices as well as on any boards in the buildings of these locations?
That's a fantastic idea. I'm just writing it down. That's great. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and those posters can also go on a variety of public posting boards on the Yukon campus as well, which is where the vast majority of these students are going to be wandering around anyway.
Mhm.
So I think having a bunch of those would be great. It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention under the things to do, and you mentioned the events calendar for Mansfield. I'm glad to see here that you have Yukon sports and arts events, because there's something called the composite sports calendar that would be cool to link to there. It's a really handy tool, and I think students use it or would use it a lot if they knew it existed. It's just basically a calendar that lists every single sporting event, and you can then click on those events and then open them up and get details, link to tickets and all kinds of things like that. So I think that would be one of the appeals of this code. So that might be something to highlight on the card itself. On the subject of, you obviously don't want to list all this stuff on a postcard, but of the things you list, I think that would be a good one to incentivize usage of the QR
Yeah.
code, because they only have
No,
to use
that's
it once, right? And then they've got it, saved in the history, and they can keep coming back to it.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and if there were other links that people think should be included on that landing page, so when you click the QR code, you come to this welcome web page. If there are other things that the commission members can think of that would be good for new residents, like I'm all ears in terms of what can we add to this thing that would make it the go-to site, so that, like Dwight said, when they get there, they find something useful and then they save that link. So
Yep. I think it's a really great list of, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Does anyone else have some thoughts? It's been a while since I've moved. What do you always need, like the first 2 weeks that you've moved into a place?
I know I don't know if this was mentioned. Is there a place for businesses to put up coupons or something? I feel like that would get people to continue to look at it.
that's something we
That's a
definitely
great
want to
idea.
do.
Yeah,
We just don't have that ability yet, but we definitely want to get there. But for between now and August, it's not something we can pull off. But
No, and that's
we'll add it.
okay, just for the future, just for the future.
But to that end, and not to move us off of this one, but the second group of welcome packet recipients would be homeowners, or basically just people that are non-tenants, people who buy condos or houses or whatever, who are theoretically going to be here for a little bit longer. This would be the next group we would target. And for them, we are thinking of a more robust product. So not that you couldn't necessarily just give them a postcard, but we wanted to make a different impression, especially since a homeowner, if you buy a condo or a house in town, you're going to be around a little bit longer. We thought we would send them more of a folder, like a pocketed folder that had a lot more of the printed type material in there. And I didn't flesh it out in a format like this for you guys to review for tonight, but the idea being we would reach out to all the local businesses and see if they had actual printed coupons that they wanted to include in that flyer, in that folder. And then we'd keep copies of those here in the office, along with what other materials we want to include. And then, once a month or once every 2 weeks or however often we get the data from the town clerk about what properties have sold, we can assemble that many folders and mail them out to those residents. So it's going to be more expensive to mail and more expensive to produce, but a lot fewer people that are going to receive it. So I think there's something like 5,000 or 7,000, if you count all the Yukon students, tenants that live in town. There's probably 150 property sales a year in town. So it's a lot smaller size, but it'd be a little bit more impactful, a little bit more expensive product.
Nancy, did you have a question?
No, I think that's a good idea for the homeowners.
I agree.
I mean, it just makes them feel more special and welcome.
Yeah, agreed.
And then you can really do like, I know Nancy, at the last time you had mentioned you were doing pretzel coupons for the residents in the standard. If we had
Yeah.
like a physical coupon that you wanted to go out to homeowners, we could keep more control over it because we keep them here in the office. We'd only mail one coupon in the brochure that goes out, so you can make like a really good deal or whatever for them because you know it's only going to go out to 150 people or whatever.
Right, right.
But we wanted those. We thought it would be, while it's going to be more expensive to mail, that information needs to be more timely. We can't do it just once a year because if you move in May and then we do or you move in July and we do the mailing in May, you're not going to get it for 10 months, right? Or 9 months or whatever that is. So while it'll be a little bit more expensive to mail, we'd like to get them in the hands of the new owners soon, so that if you have information about signing up for school or how to register your dog or, you know, trash service, all that stuff you need right away. You can't wait 3 months to find out how to do that. Might as well put it in their hands immediately.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And when you're putting this together, we should sound out our local home improvement contractors, because people that are newly moving in, that's something they often need right off the bat, is someone to replace an appliance or fix a door or something like that. And we've got a lot of people in the community that do that sort of work in the
Mhm.
trades, basically, as much as, you know, valuable as you know, restaurants and other retail services are concerned. I think that would be a good thing to include in that packet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Do you think it'd be worth charging for that type of listing? Like if we're going to have a directory of contractors or whatever, is it worth charging some type of fee to be listed in there? Like even if it's a nominal fee, like $20 or something like that, that would definitely help offset the cost of producing and assembling and mailing all this stuff.
I think I'd rather stay away from charging fees. Honestly, that's my opinion.
I'm kind of with Brian. I think it could look like what, you know, I mean, I get the point there. It'd be nice to offset the production costs. But then you're kind of really like selling advertising, and it's the town selling advertising. I don't know. It just almost like the optics of it are a little odd.
Mhm.
Would you pay, Nancy?
I probably would.
Right.
If it was $20, I mean, $20, can't go to McDonald's for $20. So I probably would, because it's a benefit, you
Yeah.
know, it's advertising
Right. And you have to pay for that.
and you have to pay.
Right.
Would everybody pay for it? I don't know. I also think I like the contractor part of it, but I also feel like
We
need to be
charge
careful.
we charge for
Say-
Taste of Towns, don't we?
Hmm?
Mansfield Downtown Partnership charges for Taste Two Towns to participate, correct?
Yeah, it does. Like $175 or $200.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a really good precedent for that kind of setup. So that does make sense. But Nancy, I didn't hear you. It sounded like you had some concerns about the idea of going to other types, going to contractors.
Well, I think whoever we're gonna, I want to say endorse, right? Because it's something that we're sending to people that we really need to make sure that the people are vetted,
I see. Right.
you know?
Sure.
You want somebody that's been in business for some time, that is fully insured, that is reputable. You don't
Oh,
want to
definitely.
fly by night.
No, not like a
That's a
handyman.
very good point. If we're gonna stand by businesses, you gotta make sure they're legitimate and vetted.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had some handymen that I would not want to recommend to new homeowners.
Again, right?
No, that's totally fair. Just something to think about. But yeah, but we do have licensed and insured people who do that kind of work in town.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think this is all sounds great, Steve, and it sounds like there's consensus that doing this this folder of materials for homeowners is kind of the second tier up. And then do you want to tell us, we just have a couple of minutes left and then we'll have to call it for the day, but do you want to tell us just briefly what you had in mind for business owners? Is it a kind of variation on the homeowners theme, but with different contents, or what were you thinking there?
Yeah, I think we're still fleshing that one out because there's sort of like a pre and post type deal with that. So we want to attract the businesses to Mansfield, and then so what kind of resources would you need to open a business in Mansfield? So that's like the pre, and then once you've opened a business, what kind of resources and information would you need? And that would be the post. And so Lucy's comment earlier in the meeting about what could we give them at the grand opening, it was actually a really good idea because we were trying to figure out what would they need to know ahead of time and what do we want to have them know after they're already here. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what kind of content, and it's definitely a bigger lift. We had that permitting guide a number of years ago, but everything's changed so much. We've taken that down off the website. But getting that kind of a concept back together where we can help facilitate businesses to locate here in town, whether it's a permitting guide, whether it's a listings of available office spaces or commercial spaces in town. We have some of that on the downtown website right now for some of the spaces that are in downtown. And then, how they might navigate town hall, all that kind of pre stuff. And then the post stuff would be, okay, now you're already here. What can the downtown partnership or the Mansfield Downtown Partnership or the Economic Development Commission do for you? How can we help you? What resources are around? How do you get in touch with the DECD, that kind of stuff?
Cool. We have several items that we can just sort of kick to the next meeting. The basketball capital of the world discussion, which I think we want to have Lane participating in as well, since that's something he's been talking about, I guess, for a while. Social media postings and a newsletter, and then the business liaison ombudsman guide, permitting guide. You just mentioned that just a moment ago, so we can certainly push that to the next meeting. But if do we need to cover any of the business under 7, Steve, future meeting topics? Or
No, but since we're up to a quorum, so if we could approve the minutes from the June 12th meeting, that'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that reminder. Could we get a motion to approve the minutes for the June 12th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Go ahead.
You
Nancy,
second. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
great. Second from Brian. And show of hands for those who vote in favor.
In favor.
Kristen, are you okay with approving the minutes?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I'm just slow to find the hand raise.
All good, all good, all good. Your verbal assent is all we need. So it's a unanimously passed, a resounding success for the minutes. And with that, we will, could I get a motion to dismiss the meeting?
I make a motion to dismiss the meeting.
And a second. Brian Coleman seconds. And all in favor of saying farewell? Wave as your sign off. Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your time. We'll see you in about a month.
Thank you
Thank
all
you
very
so
much for your
much.
feedback. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Absolutely. And Steve, just 1 second, if you could hang out for just a minute.